record this just for the folks that are not here. So design is intelligent made visible. So what's an infographic? So obviously it's the ability to make complex information easy to understand and also obviously very interesting. 65% of the population, we're all visual learners. I think we all know that, right? So infographics have not always visually been what we first think of when we hear of infographic. So thinking back to prehistoric, they're all considered an information graphic. So think of pictograms, think of directional signs in the hospital. They have to be universal. So what makes a good infographic? So it tells a story. It takes you on a journey, just touching upon taking you on a journey. That is also very good to almost close off your infographic with. Like a call to action or something like that. If it's about an issue in regards to male mental health or mental health in general, perhaps maybe it closes off with that journey on where to find some resources, where to find help. If perhaps maybe, for example, your infographic is mental health, maybe the graphic in general is about signs, things to look out for yourself or for a family member or a friend on, if you feel that their mental health is declining. So maybe your 10 talking points are on that, of signs of how to catch it or how to recognize it, I should say. And then that final journey of that infographic is maybe where to help them or how to help them or how to help yourself. Visually appealing, they're obviously well structured. It sends one key message. So that's also, I believe, a bit of an issue. Sometimes people are very broad when you think of that issue, and it's too hard to narrow in on those 10 talking points if it's too broad. If it's a very broad topic, like I said, if it is mental health, is it mental health on males, females, students, family members, how to recognize from a family member or friend, etc. So really making sure you can drill in on it instead of it being too broad. So they tell the story through visuals. So in the beginning, they guide them through and they take you on that journey. It's about where you start and where you end. Along the way, you fill in the gaps and tell your viewer the story and give them that short narrative. So unconventional ways to convey your information, where you take your bulleted list and you can start to compose your visuals that correspond to that, so people get a quick reference without, obviously I don't look at that graphic and immediately they think harmony, but when you quickly read it and then tie that graphic in, you get it. Practical values, does it bring value to your audience? Does it inform them and give them something they're not aware of? This is what I'm really loving and hoping for. Does it give them an easier understanding of information? Widely shared graphics are usually a compilation of difficult tasks and then makes them really easy to understand. They're well structured, so you want to organize your information first. Infographics are meant to take a large amount of information, make them easy. For instance, a whole novel into an infographic. Problem with a lot of infographics is too much information and not enough concentration on essentially your key points. So concentrate on that key message. If it's too complicated design, if it defeats the purpose of an infographic. So obviously this is way too complex, but potentially if this is a big giant mural or if this is a poster, it would be effective. But I'd say for something that would be shared through social or anything we might be doing, that would be too much. Visually appealing. This is not visually appealing. It should be visually appealing. One of the largest things to avoid is too much text or an improper use of graphics. Taking eye flow into consideration as well to properly tell your story. Think of all your basic design principles, folks. So infographics should take that useful information, put them into your bite-sized bits to allow the user to be able to easily understand it. Breaking things up into groups as well. In this reference, for example, we've got the different say strengths here. So we have strength, skill, brains, gadgets, heart, and then it's a quick, simple. Michael's liking this. A quick, simple reference of each of those superheroes and where their strengths are. Without thinking too much, I can immediately see. But then what I think is very powerful powerful about this one, like no pun intended. They also go into a little bit of a little more deeper dive into those characters that perhaps not grouped information, but they're still in there. So where exactly do we begin? So start by compiling a short reference list to get the ball going. So we gather, we sketch, we source, and then we color, making sure we get that color damn right. Part of my sniffling. Gathering your data. What's the key point you want to get across? Gathering your information. What are you visually trying to convey? Simplify, etc. Here's like a core method that, you know, is a company online has developed this, Venage, I believe. I won't bother going through all these, but we inform, we compare, we change, we organize and reveal relationships, and we explore. So we sketch and we doodle, we figure out our colors. Adobe Color is always very, very helpful. What are things that can go wrong that I've personally seen is that like numbers don't add up in a graph. You're like 30% and 40%. You're like, where'd the rest of them go? So making sure those numbers do add up when you are, say, doing percentages, when you're doing comparisons, the wrong visual for your information, too busy, too simple, inaccurate visual linking to numbers. So not everyone reads those numbers. They might rely on the visuals. So if you're saying 1 in 10 people, and if you have a graphic of 5 people with just one that's maybe colored red, that's not the proper connection. Poor titles, improper use of proximity, that's a big one. So for a viewer to effectively retain our information, simplistic copy paired with basic design principles will help lead the way to achieving that. But we start with your organized plan and color scheme. You can break your information up with effective imagery and simplistic infographics where you see fit. So at the end here, there's just a few that I kind of like, funny ones, Anatomy of a Graphic Designer. One of my favorite ones is this like super old, but the trustworthiness of a beard. Here we go, flu, how relevant right now. I think this is a fake one. Yeah, there's lorem ipsum in here, but it was a good example of a mixture of graphics and charts and information. And that's the end of that. Any questions in regards to the lecture? Y'all are thinking like, a lecture, what the heck?